then something went wrong, and then there was a whole century-old war between the Gonja and the Dagbon people. This ended about 1784. Just about that time, then two things were happening at the same time. The Ashanti had become very powerful, and they were already between 1874 and 84 were exacting some kind of levy from the Dagbon people. About the same time, then, the British, the Germans, and the French had begun incursions into that place and were kind of clawing lands from these people. The last time was a war between a Dagbon army and the Germans at a place called Adibo. Then the Germans won. Some kind of treaty occurred between the British, the Germans, and so at the end of the day, Dagbon was partitioned. It seems to me that the Germans got a greater chunk of the Dagbon land, a bit more to the east, and the British took the west, and next straight away to their northern territories. But about the same time, 1814, was it 1914, started the First World War. And so the British very quickly annexed the lands that belonged to the Germans, because the war was started by the Germans. The Germans were already in retreat, and so the British, it was easy for them to gather the Dagbon lot who were to the east, had been pushed to the east into the Northern Territory. Now, Dagbon, I know, is a patrilineal in terms of succession. The Yaa Naa, of course, they established a new capital in Yendi to the further east. The Yaa Naa is selected from three houses, or what they called skin gates, Savlugu, Myong, and Kariga. Now, the Yaa Naa himself then has the authority to appoint sub-chiefs. And so came the unfortunate incident between them up north again. Of course, by the time 1874, the Dagbons had been exhausted, and they were split by factional fights. So that was, I think, the reason the British, the Germans, and the French saw their...
And this factional fights existed between...
Themselves.
Yes.
Yes. You see the devastation of household fights.
Indeed. Which were the factions back then?
Oh, you see, because they are a group. You've got the north and south. You've got the Mamprisi, and then you've got the Nanumba to the south, and then you've got the other people in the middle. So the three of them. So it was really between, not themselves as such, I believe, but it was between the incursions that occurred and during the wars with the Gonja. So territories were clawed away, and therefore, somehow by annexation, you become such and such. We've got the example of the Protectorate of Togoland, which is now Volta region. You know what happened. It was petitioned after the war, and so the other side, which you now call Babo's place, undergone, right? But then all of them are seriously one people.
Prof, I'm going to come back to our conversation about the history, but let's go to Yendi now. Our correspondent on the ground is joining us with some live updates. Ilyasu Tanko is our man there for us. Ilyasu, well, it looks like quite a gathering behind you. Tell us what's been going on. Well, I'm going to try again. I don't think Ilyasu heard my question. Ilyasu, tell us what's been going on. Well, Eliasu cannot hear me, but we started a conversation here in the studio. If you just joined us, this is our coverage of the installation of the new Yaa Naa for the people of Dagbon. We've been having this conversation with Adam Bona, who is a security analyst. He's to my immediate right, Dr. Suleimana Hafiz Abubakari, a Dagbon indigenous and doctor of veterinary medicine and surgery, is next to Mr. Bona. And then to my far right is Professor Nana Isilfi Kondia. He's a political historian and chair of journalism at the Africa University College of Communication. He's been sharing some history with us. We'll come back to the history. But Mr. Bona, let's hear from you. We've had a bit of the history itself, but from the security point of view, what can you tell us over the last 17 years that we've experienced turmoil in that part of the country?
Thank you very much, and good morning to my co-panelists. I think it's the first time I'm coming on your program, even though I've met you maybe this year. So Happy New Year.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it's historic. As for we already have a new Yaa Naa, and so this is the first time he's going to be outdoored to the whole world, or his first outing since he was enskinned. The enskinnment has already taken place, so this would be his first public outing. In terms of security, I want to say the last 17 years, the area has experienced, one of the worst conflicts and probably embarrassing conflicts that probably this country have witnessed, where, a lot of things happen, a chief, a whole king and his subjects, got mutilated. We don't want to go back into it, but fast forward. You want to say this conflict actually, apart from impoverishing the people, if you come to most major cities in Accra, I am a citizen or a son of the Northern Territory. I'm from the Upper West, but if you know, I'm sure Dr. Prof will tell you that we are all interconnected, and therefore, when it affects one, it affects the other. He did say something about what he's the dean of is it students? Secretary to the dean of students. Did say. I mean, he might have, but there are other things other people told, especially those resources have gone into this community with regards to putting security officers, military, police, and ensuring that the place is protected. People don't continue to kill each other. Tells you that a lot of money has gone into this location in the last 17 years, 16, 17 years. And so for me, in terms of security, I want to say that I would want to part the eminent chiefs, the successive governments, all of them played a role in bringing us to where we have gotten to today. But most importantly, I would want to say the eminent chiefs have done very well, including, as the Asantehene. Look at the role he played in making sure this happens. The President of the Republic, he is, one important person we cannot miss. You realize the first 50% of the roadmap, as we all envisaged, was done without serious glitch. But somewhere when the other faction, the Andanis, needed to take the mantle and continue, then we had serious issues. And so then the full force of the executive needed to be brought to bear. So the whole of Yendi came under siege, literally, where you had armored cars and military officers, police officers everywhere, just to ensure that, Ghana remains a republic. And therefore, when the executive says we should sleep at 6, we are going to go to sleep at 6. And so I'm happy where we've come from and where we are. My probably advice is going to be, as we speak, the posts, outdooring, what is going to happen. And so I'm sure we'll go into all that.
Absolutely. Let's get back on the ground. Elias Tanko is joining us from Yendi, where the outdooring ceremony is underway. Yeah. Eliasu,
Hi, Keminni.
Good to have you this time. Elias, tell us what's been going on.
Yeah, so Keminni, what is currently happening is the arrival of guests and special guests, if you like. There are dozens of traditional authorities and politicians and people from all walks of life currently trooping into the precincts of the old Bewa Palace here. As we speak, we have dozens of politicians, former government officials and opposition leaders are also here. As we speak, we also have a representative from the Western Regional House of Chiefs, the Bono Ahafo Regional House of Chiefs, and also we have a delegation from the Naayiri, or if you like, the members of the eminent kings who mediated this long-standing impasse. A delegation from the Yagbanura led by the Bopeura is here, and also a delegation from the overlord of the Mamprugu traditional area led by the Yunyo Rana is also here. Keminni, I want to give you a sense of exactly how we have been able to come to this particular point. And like I said, we are live in Yendi, the traditional seat of the great Dagbon state, which is about 98 kilometers east of Tamale, the regional capital of the northern region. Keminni, this small but ancient town has witnessed several hostilities from the days the Gonjes pushed the Dagombes under the indomitable authority of Nanyaksin from the Yendi Dabari around present-day Diare. Keminni, this particular state, the Dagbon state, which had a central administration years before the arrival of the Portuguese, the Germans and the British into the Gold Coast, had never seen any subjugation until the white man used his sophisticated weapons in their cold invasions after Tolong, Kumbungu were still regrouping from a devastating victory from over the Gonjes. Keminni, history tells us that the Gonjes had killed the Yaa Naa of the Dagombes, and that is Yaa Naa Darjigo, in a war. And in retaliation, the Gonjes, the Dagombes also killed Yaa Naa Kampatia. And so we also have the history where the Asantes then took over, then took the opportunity over the wars to overrun the Dagbon garrisons and establish a control under Osajefo Opoku Ware, the ancestor of this particular Asante Hene. Now fast forward, we have Dagbon had a laid down succession plan which had been messed by influences of these external forces. Dagbon was wickedly torn apart into two halves by the British and German successions to the Yanskin, which had brought directly under the control of these forces. Keminni, I'm just trying to give you a history of what brought us here and to tell you that the 2002 incident was not the beginning of a crisis over chieftaincy in Dagbon. It was just a present-day continuation of what had witnessed in the past. And like you know, there was a war or conflict in 2002 that led to the murder of the overlord of the Dagbon. And after several mediation process, today we are here to witness the enscapement of a new Yaa Naa for the Dagbon traditional area and the Dagbon state, if you like, after 17 years of, if you like, chieftaincy lacuna in the state. So as we speak, the president will be arriving pretty soon. The information minister has already given us the indication that the president will be coming. The former president himself is here. Former president John Dramani Mahama is here. Like I said, dozens of government officials, former government officials are also here. In fact, all chiefs from the Dagbon traditional area are also here. And like you may heard me mention, several chiefs from other parts are also coming here. So Keminni, what we are witnessing currently is the arrival of guests.
I can imagine
the process.
A very important day like this will definitely attract the creme de la creme of society, particularly of our political sphere here in Ghana. But tell us, what will we witness happen today?
Well, Keminni, earlier on in the morning, there was a recitation of the Holy Quran, and that is why currently the new Yaa Naa has been able to move from the Mbadogo Palace and is currently seated at the forecourt here. Without the recitation of the Quran, the Yaa Naa elect would have not been able to move from the Ogbewa Palace to be seated currently here. So from here, the Yaa Naa, the president, when the president arrives, the Yaa Naa is expected to meet all chiefs in the Dagbon traditional area. From there, the Yaa Naa elect would also meet the president and also the invited guests. Like I said, we have special invited guests here. Members of the mediation committees, their representatives are here. So after the meeting with the Dagbon traditional area, the Yaa Naa elect would also listen to a statement from the president and also listen to a statement from representatives of the mediation committee. And then from there, the Yaa Naa will make his own statement, and then the event will come to an end, Keminni.
Elias, we'll come back to you in a bit. Let me come back here to the studio and continue the conversation as we Elias prepares to give us more updates from the grounds where the outdooring ceremony is to take place. Now, if you just joined us, this is Dagbon Rising, our live coverage of the installation and outdooring of the new Yaa Naa for the people of Dagbon. And we've been having a conversation here in studio with Professor Nana Esilfi Kundua. He's a political historian and chair of journalism for the Africa University College of Communication, Dr. Suleimana Hafiz Abubakari, who is a Dagbon indigene and a doctor of veterinary medicine, and then security analyst Adam Bona. Now, Doc, sorry, Prof. Again, just as my colleague narrated, you know, we've had a previous history of clashes that have, you know, existed within Dagbon land itself. What you spoke about that happened in the 1940s and what happened in the 2000s, how do the two relate?
They don't relate. They don't relate in the sense that in the first place, it was skirmishes between indigenous people, ethnic groups on their own, and the penchant at that time was like the Prussians in the 18th century, annexing territories. When they defeat you and they take they add you to their army to attack the next weaker person, and so you build on a kind of empire. That was what was on. If you go through our own history, having run away from the north from all those marauders, when we came down here, we also engaged in that kind of denizing until finally in 1957, we became one nation under one government and a united Ghana from Gold Coast, together with the Transvolta Togoland, the former British protectorate, kind of one of the spoils that the British had during the war, Second World War, 45. Right. In any case, so that sets you a new platform altogether. What happened this time round, right? You heard him say that there were kind of instigations or instigators, intruders from other places who really chose to muddy the waters. Now, at the end of every clash within our community, other persons come along and would that we were at war, because somehow along the line they plunder. They're the ones who come behind and then win. We've seen it we see it today, in fact, all over the world. Look at Russia and the Crimea. Look at before that. Look at the Yugoslavia. So these things happen. Before that, you could go to Vietnam, America, South Vietnam and North Vietnam, right? And it can continue. There are several precedents. Iraq, Kuwait, and now you have what? Yemeni. You also have Saudi Arabia and Iran.
The Falklands
and
War.
The Falklands War, right? All of those things, people want to cash in, right? And mind you, there's always a price that makes them want to go in. In our case, it was the plunder of our endowments, right?
But in 2002,
in 2002, that wasn't the case. It was a simple, small quarrel that lit this whole conflagration. But that shows you two things. One, the embers of the conflicts, which were supposed to have been settled, had not died. Hearts were not fully satisfied. So they were looking for only a little snippet, a pin to drop, and that was enough to stir up trouble. It's so with all the wars and all the conflicts I have, and you and I and Dr. Bona have instanced. So the difference between the original and this one is different. The original was dominance and territorial. You can't dominate without territory. That was the ambition. But this one, there was something else. It was a mix-up of external ambitions plus internal feuding, which had not subsided. And I think that was the reason they found it very difficult to settle. And they've done greatly well. They've done extremely well.
Well, after so much damage, isn't it?
Well,
but Dr. Abubakar, again, we'll be saying that, look, the people of Dagbon are really difficult people, because if it was a simple quarrel, as Prof puts it, how did it degenerate to the state it did?
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, the Gombas being difficult people, I have to remind you that somebody has lost a job because of that particular statement. The Gombas are difficult people. But
no, I was asking so you clarify.
On a lighter note. Before I go on, I would like to throw more light on what Prof talked about and your correspondent Yendi talked about regarding the history. We can't be talking about the history of the Gombas without mentioning Toheshi, the Red Hunter. We are told by oral history or in books that he is the first person we should look up to as Dagbamba. And mind me, the word is Dagbon, it's not Dagbon. It's because of the English spellings that you call it Dagomba or Dagbomba. It's Dagbamba and the land itself is Dagbon. Dagbang, not Dagbon.
Dagba?
Dagbang. That's the territory.
Well,
Dagbamba are the people, and Dagban is the language we speak.
Okay, so it's Dagbang.
Yes, it's Dagbang, it's not Dagbon. As I said, Dagbamba.
Originally.
So as I said, this Red Hunter, when he came to, he was, those days they had hunting and gathering. He was moving from places, and history had it that he came from Zamfara, a state in Nigeria. We are told that he was from Gomba, a village in that state. So when he arrived in what we call Pustiga now, he settled there. I wouldn't take you through all the history, but he married, gave birth to Nambo. This Nambo also married, gave birth to Biawa, the very name that we are using as Biawa Palace. He was third in that category. When you move from Red Hunter, that's a Toheshi, you come to Nambo, who gave birth to Biawa. Biawa equally gave birth to several children. There were 9. Among them, I would like to share with 6 with you. The first one was Kachao. She was a woman, followed by Zelde, Kufao, Tuhagu, Sitobu, Mwantambo. Then the very name that Prof mentioned, Senyaksi, was a son of Sitobu. You could see that the Sitobu came from the Nagbewa himself. He was a son, and
Nagbewa being the original Yaa Naa.
We have not gotten to Yaa Naa. We've not gotten there. We will get there. So the Sitobu, after the death of their father, who was Nagbewa, there was a conflict of misunderstanding between them, who should succeed their father. And then they broke into quarrel. The Tohagu moved to form the current Dagbon, the current Mamprogu. Then the Shito moved to form current Dagbon that we have, and then Nano was formed by Mantambo. So they were all brothers, as you can see that. So Prof mentioned something like Yan Dabare. When they say Dabare, it means that house has been occupied by somebody who died and there's nobody in it again. Dabare is the Banli word. So it's called Yan Dabare because it used to be Yane, but now it's no more Yane. That's why we call it Yan Dabare. That was where the Sitwab settled. And after some time, we started using the name Yaa Naa, which literally means power, strength of, like, when you say Ya, it means you are strong. And then Na is chief, so strong chief. So Yaa Naa, that's why we give to the title of the first person, or the #1 person when it comes to security administration in Dagbon. So as I mentioned, this Yan Dabar was occupied by him. Then we were not calling them Yaa Naa. We started using the name Yaa Naa when Nanyakse, his son, succeeded him. So after Nyaksi came Zulande, then we have now Dalgudam, Nalo as the third, then the Tole as the fourth. We came to Dalgudamda, then we have Zwelgu, we have Namatoni, up to Na Zanjina.
And throughout this period,
all these people were sons of Yaa Naa. Right? Their father had been Yaa Naas before. So it got to a time when we had 3 children of one person becomes Yaa Naas right after him. After Luro died, 3 of his children became Yaa Naas after him. So it became a quarrel because the other chiefs had got children also. And they all have interest of becoming Yaa Naa. So if I want to tell you
I want to understand why 3 of his sons succeeded him and the others couldn't. But would have you explained that? Let's go back to the grounds where the ceremony is taking place. Eliasu is joining us with some updates. Hello, Eliasu.
Hello, Keminni.
Right. What has changed since we last spoke?
Hello, Keminni, if you can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Keminni, we are here with youth of Dagbon who are here to share with us how they are feeling today after this very long, tumultuous journey. We want to find out from them how they are feeling. Good morning and welcome to GHOne TV.
Good morning.
Looking at the crowd, today is the day. How are you feeling as the youth of Dagbon?
Well, I think this brings about a great nostalgia to us because this is something that happened when we were in secondary school, I think 2002. Since then, Dagbon has remained a checkered tradition and, a shadow of itself. As we speak today, both factions of the Dagbon crisis have come together. And if you realize, the whole Ghana is here. You have the National House of Chiefs present here. His Excellency, the President of the Republic, is present in Yendi. You have ministers of state, district chief executives, and even political parties who have gathered here for the first time. This has never happened, even before the unfortunate incident that happened in 2002. We never had such a gathering in Yendi, which is the traditional home of Dagbon. For the first time we are having this, and for me, it is an honor to Dagbon, and we need to live beyond what happened 16, 17 years ago and to move ahead. Dagbon, and for that matter, Northern region, has a lot of prospects, and because of the crisis that happened some years back, it has stalled development. You realize international community kept their eyes on Dagbon, and for that matter, Yendi. And anytime the issue of Northern region, and for that matter, Dagbon, came out in the media, it has to do with crisis or death. And I'm sure with this, and if you hear even the announcement going on, you have the Bolenlana present here, the Kampankoyana present, almost all the divides, and especially the Andani and the Abudi Gate, who are present here. For me, it is historic, unprecedented, and we need to celebrate it beyond this particular day.
Talk to me, where were you during the 2002 incident? And personally, how has it affected your life, educationally, your growth socially, or even politically? How that particular event, how has it affected you personally? And what is your sentiment today that you are seeing that the Dagbon is having a new overlord?
In 2002, I was in a secondary school, second year at Ghana Secondary School. So we used to listen to news a lot. And having been a general art student, the news broke up that there was curfew in Dagbon and its environs, and that the overlord of Dagbon was dead, was murdered. We never knew what Abudu or Andani was. We were students or just at Dagbon Youth. We were not privy to anything of that sort until that information that broke out at 6 p.m. on that fateful day. Beyond that, we started hearing stories as to what is Abudu, what is Andani, conflicting stories. Then the issue of the Wako Commission came into being. We were monitoring. Then subsequently, the case went to the High Court. And so until the Committee of Eminent Chiefs was put in place by His Excellency, the former President, John Ajekun Kufuor, then the roadmap to peace for Dagbon started till date. How it affected me as an individual, I've been traveling a lot, especially as a student leader then. Anytime you go out, people want to know what at all was wrong with you people, then this thing happened. And people even down south who have never traveled to believe that people up here sleep on rooftops, on trees, in huts, and so on and so forth. Politically, you realize that the two gates were sharply divided between NDC and NPP, where you have the Andanis paying loyalty and homage to the NDC predominantly, and the Abudus doing same to the NPP. It affected us because we were sharply divided, and you barely find youth seated together as friends, but they were seated together as youth of Abudu or Andani, youth of NDC or NPP. So with this, you have a Dagbon Malma Zongo Association or DASA that came together with a conglomeration of both Andani and Abudu youth to find an amicable solution. And you might have heard even from the announcement the role Damas has played in all this, in addition to the role the eminent chiefs played. So it has affected us, no doubt about it. You even have NGOs who were supposed to come in the area of poverty alleviation, now came in the area of providing security and also preaching peace, which was not supposed to be their work in the first place. So it has really affected us, no doubt about it.
We're grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keminni, we are here. You heard a gentleman mention the Dagbon Malmaison Youth Association. Here is a top member of that particular association. We are going to talk to him and find out what crucial role did they play in bringing peace to Dagbon. Hello, welcome to GHOne TV.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
I spoke to you in the morning, and I'm talking to you again. I mean, how did it get here today? What role did the Dagbon Malmaison Youth Association play in this whole, peace building?
Dagbon Malmaison, Damas for short, has become a popular youth group because both factions have accepted the activities of this group, and I think we have been able to organize a lot of fora, sensitizing people what the benefits would be if we were to have peace. So Dagbon Malmaison, Damas for short, has visited almost every community, every nook and cranny of Dagbon, because it has realized that Abudu and Dani, the Abudu and Dani debacle has rather brought Dagbon to a standstill, and being direct beneficiaries if we were to have peace. They took it upon ourselves. We took it upon ourselves. I, for one, write a lot on Ghana Web. I write a lot. I'm a columnist. Yeah. My name is Abubakari Motariga, and my first article, "Cry My Beloved Dagbon," it attracted a lot of readership, and people commented on so many things, giving us so many ideas, and that brought us to use the Dagbon Malmaison to organize both Abudus and Andanis, that is family, youth from Abudus and Andanis, to come together to embark on one of the biggest events in Dagbon, that was the Wumti demonstration last year, that was November. So if I were to count the things that the mass has done thus far, it will look as if Dagbon's peace today is credited to the mass.
Well, that's excellent, and that is a very wonderful feat there. But today we are here, we have a new overlord. What's the feeling like?
I mean, the euphoria is quite unimaginable. You know, people, you can see, almost when you see people, the Dagbon people wear their smock in an event like this, it means that inside, I mean, the thinking is that they are too happy. Because that is the best show that we can put, you know, to show. We have a word that we call bleaching say. That is a true son or daughter of the Dagbon land. So when we have people, when you look around, you see a true Dagbon person is in a smock or in a batakare. You know, women, they have their way of dressing. So generally, what it shows to us is that both factions, that is the youth from both factions, have embraced one another. And so going forward, the new king will have a peaceful Dagbon to rule, and I can assure you that we are happy about what is happening.
Okay, all right. Keminni, like you heard him say, there's so much excited here at the Bewa Palace, and we are waiting keenly for the president himself to arrive. We have just picked a word from our sources that the committee chairman, Otunfo Tutu himself, will be here. We are waiting for this special guest to arrive so that the program will continue. Over to you, Keminni.
Thank you very much, Elias Otanko, there at the Bewa Palace, where the outdooring of the new Yaa Naa is underway. Now, in the studio, we've been having a conversation with three gentlemen. Professor Nana Esilfi Kundya, he's a political historian, and he's also the chair of journalism at African University College of Communication. And then there's Dr. Suleiman Hafiz Abubakari, who's a Dagbon. Well, you say it's Dagbon. Dagbon indigene. But so if you're from Dagbon, then how do I call you?
Dagbana.
He's a Dagbana and Doctor of Veterinary Medicine and Surgery. And then to my immediate right is Adam Bona. He's a security analyst, and he's also CEO of Security Warehouse. Now, you were telling us about how one particular chief had three of his sons succeed him.
Yes. As I was saying, Naluro was the 12th Yaa Naa we had in Dagbon, as history captures. And after him came Natuture, then Nazale, Nazokule, and Nagungwable. All these four people were children of Naluro. And those days, as I indicated, the word Yaa Naa means the strongest. So there were various means by which one could become a Yaa Naa. One of it was the one who was able to defeat the other princes. He could become a Yaa Naa, meaning he has executed.
And when you say defeat, as in physical...
Like, it could be physical machinations.
Oh.
So one of it was that. And another one was they consulted oracles, oracle consultation, and then they will have people and they say, oh, this particular person, should he become a Yaa Naa, Dagbon will be peaceful and there will be bumper harvest within his reign. So because of these processes, these four gentlemen became Yaa Naa Nama right after their father, in succession.
Okay.
Tuturo was the first son, he became Yaa Naa, followed by Nazar. He was also a son of Naluro, he became a Yaa Naa. Nazokuli was a son of Naluro, he became a Yaa Naa.
Why was this so? I thought they were sharing.
Yeah, they were supposed to be sharing, but because I said consultations were done, anytime they will come out with that particular person and say, he will be our best fit to be a Yaa Naa. So, you know, the other princes were harboring some kind of jealousy towards a particular man's children becoming Yaa Naa. I think it's natural, as if we are all entitled to become, let's say, president of Ghana, and one particular client or one particular group of people are becoming...
Some animosity would emerge.
So it got to a situation where after Nagungwable, well, let me throw more light on that one. When it came to the time Nagungwable was to be selected as Yaa Naa, they did they did a lot of consultation with the oracles, and all the soothsayers were giving them the particular name. Gungwable was supposed to be a Yaa Naa, but because he was not that rich, there was dissenting views as to why such a person should be made a Yaa Naa. So that instant consultation of oracles, people had now introduced their own feelings into it. Okay. The oracles have said that we have no way than to go with Gungwable. You have a feeling that Gungwable is poor and shouldn't be leading Dagbamba. Okay. And by back and forth, they had to settle on Gungwable because then oracles were the only source we were consulting whenever we were interested in getting a Yaa Naa. So after his death, there were 9 people who were contesting to replace him. Okay. 9 people. Among these 9 was Nazanjina. He was the youngest amongst them, and he was the son of Natiture. Natiture was the son of Naluru, who died, and the son became a Yaa Naa. So if Zanjina should become a Yaa Naa, it will mean his uncles, all the 4 were from the same father, and he is coming in as a Yaa Naa, as a grandson of one of the 4. I don't know where you're getting the narrative.
I'm following.
You are following, you're trying to, okay. Right. So they say, okay, looking at how the things are going, 9 people, we want 1 person. So Zanjina, being very smart then, consulted old men who told him that looking at how things are going, we have difficulty in settling on one to be a Yaa Naa. So in that case, we have to resort to external advices as to who should be a Yaa Naa. And the best option then was the Nayiri, because I told you that the Nayiri was a son of Najbewa, and Shito, our grandfather, was also the son of Najbewa. But Nayiri, the one who founded Mampurugu, was older than the one who founded Dagbon. So what it means is that if 2 people are fighting and you think you have to solve it, you go to the elder brother of them and ask him for his wisdom or an advice. So one of the elders told Zanjina, who was wealthy then, that looking at how the things are going, we will have to fall on Nayiri to help us choose a Yaa Naa. From the 9. And all the 8 were his uncles. He was the younger one, but wealthier and smarter. He sought consultation from other elders who mattered when it comes to choosing a Yaa Naa, and they gave him this advice. He secretly went to the Nayiri and if you can say bribe, but it won't be a nice word. He appealed to the he told the Yaa Naa that the Nayiri that what is happening in Dagbon currently is this, and I am foreseeing that we will have to come to you to select one to be our Yaa Naa. So when we come, I'm appealing that you should choose me as the Yaa Naa. And lo and behold, that thing happened. When the contest became keen, they had to go to Nayiri. And when they went, Nayiri in his wisdom asked them to mention or get names for themselves, which when they become Yaa Naa, if they become Yaa Naa, the wisdom they will use in ruling Dagbon. So in that, all of them gave their names, and the Nayiri felt that Zanjina's own was the best. And said,
what was Zanjina's name?
Zanjina said that he is Nwa, it means chest, that a broader chest will take into consideration all the Bora is what we
so he presented himself as a unifier?
Unifier. That was what he presented. And then he gave a lot of names. And then the Nayiri's interpretation of the name that was given is that he is the best Yaa Naa. So when he was coming, Nayiri didn't end. He said, when you go and this thing happen after him, if you have to come back to me, don't come again. Take Nazal to Zaldapel Andansele, who was one of the contestants, to be the Yaa Naa, because looking at the names that are provided, apart from Zanjina's names, Nazale's name is the most sweetened and would be the one to unite the bond. So when Nazanjina is no more, don't come back to me. Zaldapel Andansele should be the Yaa Naa. And that was what happened. So when they came back, what we are seeing at Yendi now is what I would say something that is not new. What is novelty about it is the president going there to give a speech, then the Asantehene going
you
to
mean
give
the
a speech.
outdooring
The outdooring is not something that is new. We've been having it. This is the 38th time the outdooring is occurring.
I see.
But what makes it different from the others is that the Asantehene is going to give a speech, then the president is going to give a speech. And it is understandable. The role the three eminent chiefs played, no one would deny the fact that the Asante need to tell the world what role he played in what we are seeing today. Okay, and then the role government also played. We need to give the government that credit. He has to tell the world the boldness and the decision he had to take in order to see that the bank sees what we are seeing today. Your reporter mentioned that there was a recitation of Quran at the palace. Yeah. I would like to liken this to the Zanjina was the first person to institute that. Looking at the circumstances with which he became the Yaa Naa, he felt that there are a lot of people who my uncles wanted to be, they couldn't. I have. So I'll have difficulty bringing them together. So let me look for different ways of sustaining them or bringing peace to my people. Those days, when you became a Yaa Naa, you had to fight a war to show how powerful you were. He said he would not use sword to show how strong he is. He wants to use God's
he used
protection.
Religion.
Yes, he went to one Sabale. We have a village around Yendi they call Sabale. He went there and consulted the Malam then that he needed him to recite Quran for him so that his reign will be prosperous. There will be a lot of bumper harvest, unity and peace within Dagbon as Dagbon have him as Yaa Naa. So this process of reciting Quran at the day a Yaa Naa is outlawed was initiated by the then Nazanjina.
Okay, so let's fast forward to 2002. Obviously, the long tree.
Okay, we can't be talking of 2000. Okay.
No, hold on. Okay. So would realize from what you have shared with us that over the years, at every point that a Yaa Naa was selected, some form of animosity came up. Yeah. Because some people felt it should have been that person. They had other ideas as to who the Yaa Naa should be. Now we come down to 2002. What really is the story of 2002? Because again, for those of us who are not privy to the kind of history both you and Prof have shared, all we keep hearing are the Abudu and Andani gates. But I mean, you've given us more than just that right now.
Before we can talk of 2002, I would like to also add my voice to what Prof said about gate schemes. When this instance or this thing happened, the British, when they got access to Dagbon, they said, if the young princes are many, we have to put a cap into who can become a Yaa Naa, so that we won't have instances where of brother fighting another brother to become a king. So they introduced this idea of gate scheme that we are having. They said, if a Yaa Naa dies, 3 people or people from 3 particular places should be allowed to become a Yaa Naa. Karga, Myang, and Savlogo. If a Yaa Naa dies and there are chiefs occupying any of these 3 towns that I've mentioned in Dagbon, any of them could be selected as a Yaa Naa. It got to a time that Myang virtually became assistant Yaa Naa, meaning he is the Yaa Naa in waiting. It got to a time that we have Myang being Yaa Naa in waiting. This is what politics has done to our nameship in Dagbon. But back to your question, what happened in 2002? If we look at the instance in 2002, the best way I can deal with it is to take us back to Yaa Naa. Yaa Naa is the brain behind what we call Abru and Andana. Yaa Naa became Yaa Naa and gave birth to several children. He had several wives and he gave birth to several children. Among his children were Abla Nabjao, into bracket Abru. The Abla Nabjao is the same thing as Abru. Among his children were Andan Nanugu, into bracket Andan. I'm sure you are taking note of that. The word Abru and Andan, where they came from.
From the same person? From
the same person. Yaa Naa gave birth to Abla Nabjao, who we call Abru, and Andan Jirlonde, whom we call Andane, because the Andan Jirlonde the Jirlonde is an extension of his name, so you can get the Andan from that. And then the Abru is the Abdullah in our tradition. The way we pronounce it, the Abdullah was being shortened to Abru. So the Abla Nabjao is the same thing as Abru. These 2 were sons of the same father, Yaa. Among his children were also Sanarna Suleiman. We have Zangbalna Aduna. There were plenty, but I will just focus put my attention on the two, the Abla Nabla and the Andanjilonde. The children of these two are what we have in Dagbon. Because the others didn't get to Yendi. And the fact that you've not gotten to Yendi or you've not become a Yaa Naa, your children cannot become one. We have a rule that no son can rise above his father when it comes to being a chief of Yendi.
I see.
So once your father has not become a Yaa Naa, you can't become a Yaa Naa. So the likes of Zambia.
So from there, the branches of the tree that you presented, that at some point we had nine. Had narrowed down to two.
Because only these two had ascended to Yendi Namship, and it means only their children are eligible to contest for that skin. So the Aburu was the elder one, and then followed suit. Oral history had it that these two people were so close that it even got a time they realized their father was growing older, and none of them was occupying a gate skin. The name that I've mentioned, the Karga, the Myang, and the Savlo, none of them was occupying. The Andana was at Myang, and then the Aburu was at Tampion, meaning when their father died, none of them can ascend to that place. So they had to fight some decisions of their father, making sure that the Aburu became a Karna, meaning he's on a gate skin, because it got to some point, the Karna died, and their father wanted to give it to their maternal uncle, which they fought, and the two of them fought that, and then the Aburu became Karna, and then the Andani was promoted to the Tampion. These two people, they fought their way and made sure that one of them was occupying a gate skin before their father could cease to live. So they had so many things that they played together. The Abdullah gave birth to Nala Santiparaga. That was his first son. And then the Andana gave birth to several, but what I will mention is Mahama Piama, the father of this Keren Yaa Naa.
Okay.
Mahama Piama was a son of Naandan Jilonde or Naandan Nanago, as I mentioned. He wasn't the first, but you know, he was lucky. By the time their father died, the first one was no more. So he became the regent of their father, Naandan. So Nala Santiparaga and Mahama Piama, they were also related in that the Aburu and Andan that I mentioned, being coming from the same father, also married from the same house. We have a house called Kambela Ayuba. He gave birth to 3 people.
I see. Mr. Bona, let me come to you, and Prof, you can also take this one for me, and perhaps later you can come in also. No, let's have a conversation so that we don't have a monologue at the end of the day. Okay. So, at what point did we get the Andanis against the Abudus?
Well, just like he did allude to, and you know, when you go to other areas, for instance, you compare probably the Ashanti Kingdom, it's probably, they have a structured way of doing it. But from what you said, where personal feelings, instead of probably consulting the oracle and waiting for the oracle to say, this person should go. And that probably threw the whole succession plan into some turmoil. Then you have one person who probably would have his sons, and so like he did say, when they say Yaa Naa means, you know, a strong king or a strong chief, you have to be strong, and you know, sometimes it involves a lot of things you need to go through. And so what it meant was that if I am the chief and I have, or the king, and I have 4 sons, and I am powerful, I could, you know, use my influence to make my children, my sons, more powerful and show them the way to succeeding me in that line. And definitely you had the other faction or the other group who felt better. I mean, naturally, if I am probably heir to a particular throne and I'm waiting, you know, for this gate, when it's moved from this gate, it has to get to my gate. And because of some consultation that needs to be done, you know, through the oracles before some people are appointed, they go in and they come out and they say, well, the oracle, I mean, the soothsayers have spoken, everybody should keep quiet. and you know that probably the soothsayers or they have been compromised, definitely you are going to pick up arms. And so I believe that that is what culminated into, son on son, where these are biological siblings started fighting each other because even amongst same mother, same father, when there are, maybe the father is not there and there are certain things to be shared, and some of the siblings feel that they are being cheated, you realize sometimes it ends up in court. And these are people who are not supposed to be fighting. And so for me, I think that that shouldn't have happened. It happened, and that threw this whole thing into some turmoil. It was because of the consultation probably weren't done in transparency. I mean, what are the processes in consulting the oracles? What steps must you take? And who are those present when you are consulting the oracles? How many people are permitted to be in probably the room, the back room when the consultation is going to be done? You and I wouldn't be there. It's going to be some people who are elected to be there. And so, apart from what we are seeing in Dagbon itself, we have this probably happening in a lot of places in Ghana. A lot of places, especially those of us who are more of patrilineal. We are faced with this issue. If you come to the Everland, it is there. If you come to even recently, you had I think, is it some chiefs in the Greater Accra region called on the president to intervene. Because you see, we haven't had, I mean, I'm happy we have a historian, professor of history here. We really did not document these things very well. For instance, today, if the Queen Elizabeth is not there, they can tell you in 100 years who is going to be either the King or the Queen of England. If you take, for instance, the Ashantis are a typical example of succession planning, where, things are done in a particular way where you don't have, once it is done, it's done. You don't have people feuding and fighting. And so for me,
Prof, so from the narration, obviously there was some level of bitterness along the years. But I didn't hear Doc say that at some point, they picked up arms. So which was the straw that broke the camel's back in 2002 that caused people to take up arms subsequently?
Well, persuasion fails, what do you do? Persuasion fails, what do you do?
Well, you apply some force.
That's right. So that is what, and then you have the incidences of the incursions of the external forces, right? Bringing in sophisticated arms and the rest of it. They are there themselves for conquest. When they win, they need the allegiance of the people or some of the people to enable them to sustain their new status quo, right? And therefore, these people also naturally also acquire the sophistication to want to use what they have taken from the the incursion or the invader. In the case of the
so on our screens now is a show of tradition, a chief in a palanquin. The arrival of the chief, I believe that that is the beginning of the arrival of the Asantehene. And it's not he himself, but I think it's one of the chiefs accompanying the Asantehene. And
Mampohene, that's it.
Well, so that's the Mampohene. Okay, so my understanding is we may not be seeing the Otumfuo anytime soon, but obviously he has a long line of powerful chiefs who are representing him at the event, and this, I'm told, is Mampohene. in the palanquin. I haven't seen the palanquin in a long time. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
The show of tradition is fantastic.
Yes.
And there's also something going on right behind the Mampohene. These are men on horses. Dr. Abubakar, can you explain what that is?
Which one?
The men on the horses, displaying.
These are
Just like.
Yeah, go.
Oh, it has
Asante,
nothing traditional to it.
It means we ride on horses.
Okay.
And they mount into the palanquin.
Palanquin.
Yeah, so that's the difference.
So this could be chiefs also.
Yes, but this, they could be.
They could be
Or they are
chiefs from.
maybe prince or
Small
whatever,
chiefs,
small-
princes, and the rest. Yeah.
Oh, tradition is so beautiful. It is. It is. So, Prof, you were telling us, you know, these were two brothers.
Yes.
And so, at what point did they start? You know, did it blow up as it did?
I think it got to a deadlock. Every one of them's ambition had made them dig their heels in. And like we have today, I don't want to mention the ethnic group. I mean, you only have to give one or two things to some section of the clan or the, and then, oh, you are chief.
Yes.
So let's go on, right? And believe that is what's happening. It's all replicated down south. And I'm sorry to say that I would expect, if you came to ask me to the close, what's the advice? I think we should use one, the succession plan and bind ourselves to it. Two, then we should settle our internal arrangements. The succession plan will settle our internal arrangements. They left it kind of laissez-faire because there was such a mutual trust among them until people who were appointed in the south, people who were appointed regents, right, usurped these tools, and that's the spread of it we have in our country today. Down south. In the north, it was a result of two youngsters being encouraged not to give over to the other. And that is what's happened. So if that has been settled, my question is, will they settle on the patrilineal, which is there, or will they go on this multifarious thing that this gentleman, for example, if he has 3, 4, 5 kids, surely whether with one woman or other women, we are not going to come back at some later date. This same frightening situations that we have had, and thank goodness everybody's well, everybody's goodwill, everybody's hard work, we've arrived at this day. Okay. Right? It's been such a a wonderful job, hard task, but I know what negotiations means in these situations. You yourself, the negotiator, you have to watch over your own life and the rest of it, because it got to that heat. And but the other thing that strikes me is that as he was speaking, that if you have got 3 skin gates, Savlugu, Tagari, and Myo, why was there the tendency that only one gate provided the succession line? For sure, even that arrangement, and I know that same arrangement exists down south. It's part and parcel of the down south confusion, right? If we are 3 houses, and we are going to, then there will be order that it passes from house 1, house 2, house 3. But in most cases, what happens is this: house 1 may not have ended their occupation. That is, death takes the person away. So it is not the feeling of the house 2 yet to take over. So but house 1, which has lost its leader being the occupant, then has to cede arrangement, come on, MOU. Then all right, let's appoint a regent, right, from house 2. It is there that the trouble started. The regent from house 2 then usurps the the stool or the skin. And that is what we have in Ghana today, right? All over. People say that go to the House of Chiefs and ask them to do it. I mean, several of them are usurpers. How do you want them to cut their noses by their faces? You understand? So in any case, yes, they have a job to do after today. Clean up the roadmap, and then give us that piece over there, and so we can also learn. Indeed, if we in the South haven't learned anything, I'll be very sad. But I believe that we in the South, whilst we were talking, we're looking inside our cloaks to find out what we could learn from the North. So out of every bad situation, there's some kind of good, and that good can be better to best.
Indeed. Dr. Abubakar,
Yes.
Again, like one of our interviewees indicated, politics appeared to have played a role in how deep this conflict went. Well, on the screens now, well, we've been taking off the screens. I wanted to draw your attention to the arrival of the President of the Republic. Well, there he is in his yellow smock, and for today we'll call it fugu, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Yes, in his yellow fugu, looking very colorful for a colorful day. Let's come back here to the conversation. We'll bring you the speeches when they begin from the Gbewa Palace. But I was asking that what role did politics play in deepening the conflict?
Thank you. But I would have wished this question is directed to...
Oh, he'll take it. He'll have his take on it. But you're an
security...
indigene, so
yes. I wouldn't
trying
be
to understand from an indigene's perspective.
Okay.
What role did politics play?
Politics, let me say, politicians. I could be a politician myself. And, let me describe them as being opportunists. When they see something and they know that if I go in there, it will bring me some votes, they most of the time look at the number of people that they will be pleasing as against the number of people that will be hurt. So what we had, I wouldn't want to attribute what happened to politics.
What would you attribute it to?
I would just say we couldn't manage our own efforts. The role politicians could play, or I would say they played, is for the fact that the politicians are supposed to provide security for the people of Dagbon. Once we fall within the territory within which the leadership of the country has to provide security for.
I beg your pardon, that is ideal. That's very ideal. The real thing is that, you see, we have not been able as a people to understand what independence means. And so we have continued to live our lives on the paternal state, the welfare state, Abamba Buaye. Every disaster we cause. So it gives the politicians the free rein to go who may, spread the largesse, and they are able to control us. You heard that the young man was saying that one section of these two feuding people, one was for NPP, the other was for NDC. How did it come about? The same process, that little process. You understand it? So they have played very deep and inadvertently an unfortunate role of deepening the crisis that had occurred and we are about to see officially, I hope not, but officially for the beginning, an end to it. Now, how do they, or how are the citizenry able to detach them from matters totally beautiful as we see of tradition, matters that are not theirs, from interfering? I don't know. You know, the Constitution banned chieftaincy altogether from politicization. What do we see today? Right? And there are causes, but it is not reason for any chief, any occupant, to make that, excuse to show pandering. Of course, every human being is not apolitical, you understand? But the rule says that we play it by the rule, by the game, level ground, that chief, stay away. But you hear the chiefs today showering praises on politicians and all of those things. You deepen the division, because within the palace itself, there's a division, right? And outside of the palace, there's a division. So in the process of the winner takes all in our country, the paternal state, right, dogs people are in power. So let's fraternize with them and to get it. So anything that comes from the other side, no way.
So what would it take for the detachment to occur in a place like Dagbon?
Maybe we will have to review the constitution and ensure that chieftaincy really becomes celibate politically. And two, that the politicians themselves also know that there's a red line. If you crossed, you will lose your seat.
Mr. Bona, would it be that easy?
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. But the question again, did politics play any role in, you know, the divisions we saw prior to today? Today we want to believe on the face of it that the divisions have been, you know, mended in a way, partially. It's post, you know, this outdooring that we will see how we are, you know, Dagbon is able to hold itself. Yes, I mean, I will tell you that politics played, you know, a significant, probably 98% of the role in, you know, disintegrating Dagbon and bringing turmoil into the territory. If you ask me, I will tell you that I have colleagues who probably are in parliament today, who I knew were struggling to enter parliament and couldn't enter parliament prior to, what do you call it, the disturbances. And the moment it took place, they found their way into parliament. And most of them privately will tell you that, you know, you see each of them trying to tell you why it has to be this way and why it has to be this way. But if you go into it and you research into it and you investigate, you realize that it is because this person seems to be benefiting once these people are fighting, because then I am aligned to either the Andanis or the Abudus, depending on which party I belong to. And so you realize if you come into this country, even you, the media, you are guilty, where, excuse me to say, the smartest people we have in this country are politicians. And so if the categorization goes on, if it has to do with economics, we find, you know, some politician to come and explain economic policies. If it has to do, and so we have, that has also trickled down to chieftaincy activities, where the politicians, because they have access to wealth, they have access to power, they are able to go down there and say, you know, you are now you are going to be the heir to the throne, even though they know you are not the next in line. And they tell you that, you see, if you vote for us, even though you are not the next, you are not the heir, when this person passes on, you are not coming. They will tell you that if you vote for us, definitely we are going to bring you. And so these are some of the things that has happened. We have...
Just a moment, historically, you know, before independence, Kwame Nkrumah made a statement, found that it wasn't him who said the chiefs will run away, leave their sons behind. It wasn't him. It was Bidema.
Yes.
You understand it? Now, people often make that attribution error. Now, but the CPP found that majority of the chiefs had become conservative and they were against them. So surely it was a matter of, I have power, I'll show you where power lies.
Yes.
You understand it? Okay. So the chiefs that were known to be pro-CPP were recognized. And they took it up from a very simple colonial heritage. In the colonial times, if a chief wanted to be recognized, then they would be gazetted. How much were they being given? Between 2 shillings and 6 and 1 and 6 or somewhere down the grade, they were earning 9 per month. All right, but it was good for them. So they were. You will remember that when Power Grant inaugurated the UGCC, he made a distinction that the chiefs, because the country had gotten to a point where they thought that the chiefs were against us, everybody else, right? And they had become lackeys of the colonial powers. Pa said no in his speech. No, it isn't so. It was rather J.B. Dankwa who said, look, the chiefs are in a piteous position, so we the people should help them to remove themselves from the apron strings of Whitey. You understand? Now, unfortunately, after the overthrow of the First Republic in our country, they are all interconnected right up to Dagbon. After the overthrow of the because there were chiefs labeled as CPP chiefs, and there were others within the community of heir apparents and the rest of it.
Right.
They were known to be pro other side, okay? So when the other side won in 1969-70, those were installed as chiefs and recognized by a government gazette over those who were sitting there. You have already sowed the seeds of conflict, serious one. That's what's come to attack us now. That's what has come to haunt us today, and all got its connections to Dagbon. We take some of these things, let's say, of course, yes, no seed. We take some of these things for granted, but they are all seeds that we have sown. Our instability is all embedded in there. You understand it? So until politics decides to become celibate out of chieftaincy or anything traditional, that's what we want. But they also know, and the chiefs also know that, you see, there are people, in those days, the chiefs were served. There are people who were farmers who go to give them cassava or anything. Correct. These days, they don't care about them. So they're left in penury. And so the politicians comes along and comes with that.
It sounds nearly impossible, doesn't it?
It can be impossible. There's a possibility.
There's a possibility that we can, chieftaincy or our traditional system can be celibate of politics.
Yes.
See, it is possible.
It is possible.
It is possible.
It sounds far-fetched.
No, the Constitution has it. So all you've got to make sure that you implement it. You remember the campaign 2016, some woman chief. Everybody went to town on that woman chief. What happened? Nothing. She stood on a platform, political platform, and declared her stand. Absolutely wrong. If tradition was taking its toll, the woman would have been destooled.
And I think even here in Accra, we also
had the same thing.
And which to me, this is what sows that seed of discord, where you have, promises, or you have areas where you have protracted conflicts.
Yes.
And the politicians, when they are going to campaign, sometimes they hit town and they are heading straight to one of the factions. They go to the home of that person and then go to the other side. And this other side that is perceived to be aligned to this, they go to this side. And once you do that, you are almost bringing these people on each other. And so for me, I think that if, for instance, let's take what do you call it? We are a republic. But if you take other countries where probably they have the monarch or the rest, we can take something a bit out of it, where, the state, you citizens pay something to take care of these people. If we can do that, like you're saying, today you go to most of these communities and the chiefs and the people don't have.
Chiefs, they do get some form.
That's not a stipend from the state.
Listen.
That's not it.
I tell you what. Just look at how much an MP would spend to go into parliament. And when they win or they don't even win, you and I know that the whole community comes to them telling them, I'm sick. I need money to do this. I need money to do that. And so if you are a chief, the expectations are that if you are a chief over, let's say, 50,000 people, the first point of call for strangers would be to go to the chief palace and say, probably I'm lost. Can you assist me? I think this used to be there yesteryears. But today you go there, maybe there's no food. And so some of them, galamsey fight has become an issue because, you see, the chiefs feel we need to eat. And so you come in, some foreigners come in, and they cede part of their territory to them, take money, and the other factions say, no, this belongs to others. So these are some of the things.
Many more dignitaries have arrived at the Gbewa Palace for the outdooring ceremony. We've seen the delegation from the Menchia Palace in the Ashanti region representing the Asantehene. We have also seen a few northern chiefs make their way there. Obviously, the biggest outfit today is the Fugu. We've seen the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, also in the Fugu, a very bright yellow one, perhaps to signify the goodness that is about to happen going forward in Dagbon. And Dr. Abubakar, that is the new Yaa Naa, is it? Oh, we just lost him. On your screen now is former President John Dramani Mahama, who himself is also, he's invested in this area.
Yes.
And
all of them.
Yeah, absolutely, all of them. I can only imagine that today is a very, very important day for him too. Obviously, his presence would say that much. So, former President John Dramani Mahama there with his own delegation. I believe he is making his way to the new Yaa Naa to pay homage to the new Yaa Naa. We've seen that. Oh, that's Haruna Ijusu, Minority Speaker of Parliament. He's just paid homage to the new Yaa Naa. To the Yaa Naa.
To the Yaa Naa.
We should just say Yaa Naa now.
Yes, I think that's correct. Yes.
I agree with you. To the Yaa Naa. He too is from the part of the country, very much invested in the process that we are seeing climax today. Now, I want us to know, I know you want to pass a comment, I would want us to know a bit more about this new Yaa Naa. From what I have read, he was, can I say was, Yaa Naa of Savlogu?
Yes.
Right? Right. So, pass your comment quickly and then tell us about...
I've been resisting the temptation to divide Andana and Abudu along party lines. Simple because I can give you two people because of lack of time. When we look at Prince Imoro Andana, he's a known MPP. Now Andana go give birth to Savannah Abukalgia. Savannah Abukalgia gave birth to Vanamuro, and Vanamuro gave birth to him. It means he's directly related to Andana. He's a grandson of the one we call Andane, but he's an MPP.
I see.
When we take Napatia Suleiman, the current one of the staffers.
Well, I do not know, I've got to be honest, I do not know who this Prince Imoro is.
He was the regional minister then, the time the incident happened. Prince Imoro Andane was the northern regional minister.
At the time this incident took place. Right.
He's an Andane, but he belongs to MPP. When we take Napatia Suleiman, the Na Andane I said, gave birth to Zangbelna Aduna, who gave birth to Nanton Nasule. Nanton Nasule gave birth to Zosel Lantia, and Zosel Lantia gave birth to Napa. Meaning Napa too is directly related to the Andana, but she's an MPP. When we take Hudi Yahya, he's a known and Abudu person, but he's an NDC. So dividing the Abudu and Andana along party lines, I don't feel that comfortable because we have people in NDC who are Abudu, we have people in MPP who are Andana. So to say that, per your reporter, he said the MPP are Abudu and then NDC are the Andane. But like I said...
No,
I think it was an interviewee.
A general statement.
But that is...
That is what is known publicly.
I mean, that is a fact. I mean, you are confirming... this is not a perception. You are confirming something that is real, which is a reality.
I'm only trying to tell you people who are Abudu and they are in NDC. Yes. And I'm telling you people who are...
But I think what...
So to classify are all Abudu...
What the rest of us are saying is that in spite of that, there is the perception out there that one skin gate
which I don't want to buy into.
Is an NPP alliance...
For Osetutu today. It doesn't matter how much money you, the politician, you have. You cannot buy him, probably. Yeah. Because then the institution takes care of him. Yes. the stool he occupies takes care of him, and his people revere him. And so it doesn't matter how you perceive him. NDC, MPP, I mean, we've heard all sorts of stories. But you see, I will tell you that if what Prof said and what some of us are saying is anything to go by, let's strengthen the chieftaincy institution. Make them independent in a way that the politician, it becomes difficult for somebody who wants to provide security to be laissez-faire or sleep on the job. But if we don't do that, and you expect, we are individuals. Remember, we are humans. And so for me, if we build the structures and we empower it, these things we are talking about, probably it will be a thing of the past.
It is a thing of the past.
Not yet. No, let's not. You see, this is.
Hold on, gentlemen, hold on. Well, we'll be thankful for the fact that President Akufo-Addo has said is Abu Dhani. So hopefully we'll think that we'll want to think that is the beginning of the division.
Yes.
So he's Abu Dhani. He's both sides. He's there, and he would want to maintain the peace that way. But as Mr. Bona was trying to point out that. Well, yes, this is the beginning of the process, but we cannot immediately say that is the end of everything. Okay. So, Mr. Bona, I'm going to start with you. What should we be doing now?
I think what we need to be doing, I think the moment the funeral got finished, they finished the rituals for the funeral, and then they consulted the oracles, and a new Yaa Naa was found or skinned. What my expectations were that the National Security Minister, who is deeply involved in this, the executive, the president, we can see him in his beautiful regalia over the Fugu. All the security chiefs are there. My expectations are that let's put intelligence officers on the ground, because you see, we have not done very well when it comes to intelligence gathering. If we are going to have nurses recruited to work as national security officers who are not supposed to disclose who they are, let's have farmers who are recruited into the BNI who are not supposed to disclose who they are. Let's have teachers. Let's have people in academia. Let's have people from all walks of life within this community who are actually working and trained to provide first-hand information. Once we are able to do that, then one will say that we can have a skeletal, uniformed officers who are on the ground making sure that there is, tranquility, peace, and order, in the Yendi, Dagbon area. But until then, if we think that everything has come to a successful end, I believe that we would be treading on a dangerous path. Let's put in structures, because 17 years on, if the Abudus finished their rituals, the Andani started, and we had about 2-3 people dying, and the roadmap got suspended, and then they carried on. It tells you that this is something that looks okay to me, but let's not take security of the place and the new chief, if you know what happened previously. We want to make sure that we never again are we going to go back to what happened 17, 16 years ago. But we can only achieve that when the chieftaincy, the bigger chieftaincy institution is strengthened, where our chiefs, are probably encouraged, they are motivated, given what is due them, and then probably we have a structure put in place for succession, for who is next. If you, Prof did say something, I think my colleague here also said something. We, for instance, from the northern part of the country, mostly patrilineal. And so we've had situations where they will say the chief who is passed on gave birth to a woman, and that child, the chief did not properly marry that child. And so that is an illegitimate child. Meanwhile, in terms of the structure, it didn't define who is legitimate and who is illegitimate. It says patrilineal. And so if, let's say, I'm the illegitimate son of the chief who is passed on, and I'm the eldest, and I'm next in line, and you tell me I cannot be unskinned, then to hell with you. It's going to be all-out war. And that is what has, you realize that, just like you're saying, Prof, they say, should we look at a combination of both? You know, where we say, once it is your time, it is your time. Let's have a structure. The historians are here, Prof is here. Let's recruit them. Let's put them.
I think so. I mean, that should be a model for all of us. I'm very sure that I'm convinced that the basics that led us, this country in Dagbon or Dagbon, to this point, will be a very, very good model for all of us. All we need to do is to look at the nitty-gritties of differences. And there aren't many, because royalty is royalty everywhere. And we will get there. But the point is, who is to bail the cat? It is going to be the legislature, isn't it? And they themselves. Well.
So for me, like I'm saying, I think
will appear very
after this
solid end.
after this event, I hope that the executive would put those who have knowledge. I mean the historians who can give us some policy document, and it should be nationwide. This conflict is not just chieftaincy conflict. Is not just in Dagbon. We've had it all over the country, and so we don't want to finish this and tomorrow we have something in Accra. The next day we have something in where Alavanyo, Unkonya is everywhere, and so it is because probably we have paid little attention to details about things that should have been documented. But if these things are documented, it makes it better. And so for me, I think that post this outdooring, I want to see how the executive committee that will be put in place to have a foresight and predict, because we are not very good at predicting. But history, I mean, the historians will tell you that history helps you to predict. Yes. History helps us to predict. But if we are a country where, to us, history is not important, but we want to see how the future will look like, then I'm telling you that we are in trouble.
You're an indigent,
The simple key is this. Think a key statement. A nation that has no history does not exist.
It's simple.
Oh, okay. You did ask the question about who the current or who the young is.
We'll talk about that. But what I want to find out from you, being an indigent, is what will work for indigents? What will work for you? Because a lot of the things that we've spoken about, let's put the structures in for the chieftaincy, but for the locals, what will work for you?
Thank you very much. One of the chiefs I've visited during this process told me that whether we like it or not, as Dagbamba, Supreme Court is now part of our rule or our tradition. The rulings of Supreme Court now plays a role. What it means is that in the past, what we used to follow to get a Yaa Naa, Supreme Court has introduced an aspect into that tradition, and we can't do away with it. So as an indigent, what I'm thinking is, we Dagbamba should come together, put in place, agree, settle our differences between ourselves, and then, or among ourselves, then after which we will all agree to follow the Supreme Court ruling on who should be a Yaa Naa.
What would it take to bring you together beyond having a new Yaa Naa? What would it take for the locals, for those who picked up the yams, to drop them and come together?
For me, if you ask me from a childish point of view, I would like to say that once two people have engaged in a fight and there's a third party to mediate, I think the best way is for one of them to accept I've wronged and apologize, and the one who was wronged should also accept the apology and forget. So as the government, if we learn to forgive and forget and look at Dagbon as a collective state, I think that would be better for us.
Please, am I getting a sense that you agree that we do not have to say wave white flags all the way yet? Because I thought I heard the young man say that the youth, whatever organizations, and he was so fluent about it, overflowing with praises. I would have thought that you already have an apex body there. You have a key player in there. So all that the chief has got to do, right, is to consult with them and take along with him the people. This doesn't need any big do, unless again they are going to allow politicians, and politicians are very smart at working new strategies when they appear that they have lost it. And this
but Prof, you agree that sometimes, a lot of times, the buck stops with the people in power. So yes, we've managed to get a new year.
I have said that colonial mentality, I'm sorry, must be gotten rid of, and it's by education. Here we are, we don't know our history. We don't have history books, and all the rest of them. And the people who wrote what happened and history, they were all burned, right? And we don't have any. I don't think history is even taught in the schools today.
As an elective in secondary school.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Your own history. So the girl says, I'm called Yaa Santua. What do you mean by Santua? She can't explain. My mommy told me, my mommy and daddy told me I'm Yaa Santua. Where you come from? They say I come from. Do you know that? She doesn't know. It is something. All of these things are part and parcel of having built up this cauldron, right, that went up in Dagbon. I'm saying that history, as he says, should have taught us and should have given us the ability to predict. We may not be soothsayers, but it should have given us some kind of approximated outcomes, speculatively, intelligently, so that we can fashion some kind of blocks whereby we can fill in the mortars. But we've left it laissez-faire. And it is that laissez-faire which has led us into this crisis that we believe that we have resolved, but it's not all over, because unless we sit up, hey, we've got this, now what next?
Now, post-installation of a new Yaa Naa, based on aspects of the roadmap that I am looking at now, it would appear that the roadmap wants to rely a lot on the state in reviving Yendi, which is the problem you identify.
Yeah, it is because we have that. But if the state, they are politicians, if the state will provide this environment and leave off and demand from the people in there, this is what you must work at it and come to us. We tell the whole nation and see what the nation will say, then that will be fine. But the state providing, right, the state that is making the provision is divisive. The state has government and opposition. And in most cases, as our history tells us, most of these things don't go by an amalgamation of brains or heads or sorting out widespread consultation among those who are not with us and even those we perceive are against us. And so until we are able to submerge all these things and think that it's Ghana, it's our people, right? And get it. Look, Yaa Naa, whatever, please, and academia, as he said, and all of them, sit down and look at this model which has brought us to this day, and let us get a document from you that provides a blueprint. At the end of the day, we put it to the nation, and we shall all swear or take an oath to be guided by it. So that at the end of the day, when anyone in fact said, hey, a plague on your house, it's as simple as that.
Well, Yaa Naa is still seated, and I think some chiefs and dignitaries are still paying homage to Yaa Naa. the beginning of the peace process in Dagbon. Yeah, beginning of peace in Dagbon. Beginning of peace in Dagbon. Not the process, but beginning of peace itself in Dagbon. So let's get to know the Yaa Naa. Who is he?
Thank you. Yaa Naa Mahama Abubakari II is his name.
Okay.
Before he ascended to that throne, he was the chief of Savolo, Yaa Naa. And I would like to throw more light on him as against the former Yaa Naa that we had.
Okay.
I would like to start with Nanyase. The first ever person to bear the title Yaa Naa was Nanyase. Nanyase gave birth to Nazulande. Nazulande gave birth to Nadator. Nadator gave birth to Nazologo. Nazologo gave birth to Naluro. Naluro gave birth to Natitoro. Natitoro gave birth to Nazanjina. Nazanjina gave birth to Nagarwa. I want to take note of the word Nagarwa.
Okay.
That's the reason why he's the second. He was the first.
Oh.
The Abubakar, the affiliation of it is Garwa. So the Nagarwa, who is his grandfather, was the first. So the Nagarwa again gave birth to Andanjangbarga. Andanjangbarga gave birth to Nayakum Nantu. Nayakum Nantu gave birth to Andananago. Andananago gave birth to Namahipyama. And Namahipyama gave birth to him. That is how he is related to them. So
that's his lineage.
So he is Bukari the second because of his grandfather Nagarwa, who ever occupied that skin as Nagarwa the first. So we would address this current Yaa Naa as Mahama Abubakari the second because of Nagarwa. That's who he is. And that's the fatherland. The motherland is from a village called Puria. It's a village near Miang. That was where he started as chief. And I would like to add that he has broken a history and set his own. To be a Yaa Naa as an uncle, when I say uncle, becoming a Yaa Naa after your relation to the one who died before you become a Yaa Naa. He's the second person to occupy it as an uncle. The Yaa Naa Yakubu Andane was his nephew.
Okay.
Because he and Nayakubu's father was the same father. And the first person to have done that was Naluro. Naluro became a Yaa Naa after Nadajao. Naluro and Nazong were both children of Nazolo. And then Nazong gave birth to Nadajao. It means becoming a Yaa Naa as an uncle in relation to the one who died before you. The first person to have done that was Naluro. And he's the second to have occupied the skin as an uncle.
I see.
And that same Naluro also became the first town he occupied was Sunsong, his mother's side. And this man also started from his mother's side and rose to become a Yaa Naa. The Naluro also started from his mother's side as a chief of a village from his mother's side.
So,
and
how significant is the fact that he's the second?
Like Prof you say, that's history. We want to tell the world that somebody has ever been a Yaa Naa with that name before.
But Prof, in terms of his work as a chief, what does it bring to the people of Dagbon as Yaa Naa?
Well, he has an imposing presence. That alone is a charisma that anybody who is going to lead needs, if God has endowed you with that. But if it's not there, then it's your own will of character. So you would assume that the chap with that kind of charisma, the chap who had sat through it all, has developed some will of character, right? A stand force in him that eschews revenge, but promotes cooperation, brotherly love. Because if you look at the lineage between his, house and of the others, I mean, they are related. They are one people. It so happens that throughout all our chieftaincy conflagrations in this country, they are all related. They are one and the same
Boyanla
people.
is on the screen.
Sorry, who is that again?
Boyanla, the regent of Mahama, the one they performed first before Nayako. This is the regent of.
Okay, okay.
That's Boyanla Muhammad Abdullah, the fourth.
I see, Very well.
Regent.
Now, Prof, you're saying something?
Yes, this is why I'm saying, emphasizing all the time that you look at it, they're all one people. But why is it that we should fight? We fight maybe personal inordinate ambition, but most of them, they become fights into the open, affecting people severally. It's the external influence. And in our case, whether we like it or not, the chief external influence, the chief damage is politics. If we can divorce politics from this whole business, I think we will begin to see a way. And go back to our roots, right? That the chief is a chief. He sits there for all of us. But we've gone to a situation where even people who must be in the chief's palace as his advisors will not be able to go there or will not be tolerated because they are labeled or tagged with A or B political party. It can't work well because it is that which he or she represents within that kingdom, within that realm, right, is an inextricable part of what you are occupying. So we got to work on them. But he, I expect, will be the best person from the experiences that he's gone through, be the best person to share those experiences and to use that sharing to influence others. They may be usurpers. We may not be able to do anything about it. But from now on, brother to brother, the French will say, attention.
Very well. Earlier on, we saw Togbi Afede also pay homage to Yaa Naa Abubakari II. Mr. Bona, what do you think about Yaa Naa Abubakari and what he could do in helping Dagbon?
Well, I think what he could do is to bring, first of all, bring all the family together. I mean, these are siblings. You know, he called him. He's taking charge of the brothers. He's now in charge of everyone, and therefore he has to be the uniting figure, the person who would unify them, bring them to a round table, and make sure that he operates, you know, in a more transparent manner, where it would be, call it, devoid of what involving this part of the group and not involving that part of the group. Definitely, you are aware that there were others who were eyeing, what do you call it, the seat, who probably, they per the oracle, as we are being told, they were not.
Okay, so just a second. I want you to explain why the men who sit in front of the Yaa Naa appear to clap anytime anyone pays homage. What's the significance of that?
When you go to the Asantehene, they say yo, and then they do some sound. It's just the chief does not open the mouth to respond to the greetings. Okay. So what they are doing
just like thank you.
Thank you. They are receiving the greetings on behalf of him. Okay, and I would like to say something. Seated right in front of him, that's to his left, is the regent of Tolan, Major Suleimana, the one in white towel. Okay. Around his head. Yes, to the right of the Yaa Naa is Major Suleimana, and to the left is the regent of Nanton. These two plays a significant role in choosing a Yaa Naa. Okay, okay. If there is time, I would like to throw more light on that one too.
Let's Mr. Bona land.
Yeah, so I think he has a major role to play in unifying or uniting Dagbon, because we realize there are others who I don't want to mention names. We hope that wounds will be healed, and so there were others who were also eyeing the same skin, but the oracle and what the elders of Dagbon wanted, they selected the current, Yaa Naa to lead his people into prosperity. And so my expectations are that if you know the history of the territory, these are warriors. These are people who are great farmers, great hunters, you know, and so these are people who, by way of life, are supposed to be strong people. And so I want to believe that that strength, he will channel that strength into prosperity. He will channel that strength into tilling the soil so that there will be a lot of food products. He will channel that strength into making sure that never again are we going to have divisions among the family, you know, so that he would probably, I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, next few months, there will be events, you know, events amongst them, the children, because apart from occasions where maybe festivals and the rest, the, you know, events that brings them together probably isn't there. And so I think there should be other unconventional, you know, events, even if it has to do with sports, if it has to do something that will bring these two people together in a manner that will not divide them like it's happened in the past. And also, whatever he needs to do, you know, the chief is only a chief, but usually the chief is directed by elders, because there's a saying that before the chief is born, elders would have existed, and therefore you don't have to be an elder to be the chief, the next chief. And so I'm expecting that he would recognize the fact that he needs to quietly pay homage to the elders of the area. If he has to, there are certain things he doesn't understand. He needs to consult them. These are things I don't understand, so that unilaterally he wouldn't take decisions that will probably turn this whole thing upside down. In terms of security, I want to hope that the executive, it doesn't matter which government. When I say executive, I'm being very careful with my choice of words. The executive would at every given point have, Dagbon has been something that has been on us for a very long time. It shouldn't happen again, and so the executive should have a clear-cut policy in terms of security for Dagbon. If we can do this, then I believe it will work. If it works, we can replicate it in the other areas. You know, immediately the presidents together, I mean the eminent chiefs together with the president became that firm and said, this is how we are going to go. We've had other people, especially those from the Greater Accra, also wanting to say, if you can help us, it will be good. It means that others would be falling in line. And so these are some of the things I'm expecting.
So while we're on security, I'd want us to talk about the fact that, well, this could be going on, but the arms are still with the people.
Yes.
How do we deal with it?
How we deal with it? First of all, the people of the area predominantly are farmers, hunters, and if you go to communities that predominantly, those days were a farming community, you would find blacksmiths. And the blacksmiths in the past produced these arms, you know, firearms for hunting. Eventually, because of the wars, they also produce some for, you know, to fight, to kill people or to harm people. How do we do it? We've got to channel their energies, their skill into producing farm, you know, implements. Producing farm implement, I mean the blacksmiths, instead of producing, what do you call it, firearms. Let's get them into producing maybe hoes, cutlasses, and other things that would help till the soil and bring the place to the level we want. And once that is done, we shouldn't just leave it there. I am hoping that there will be a policy where these people who are going to be producing this will not only be selling to the people of the Dagbon area, but will be selling to probably the whole of the country, because they have expertise in doing that. There again, firearms that are already in existence, how do we retrieve them? I mean, other countries have used canines or dogs to retrieve firearms. We haven't been able to do that. So let's begin to train dogs, you know, special dogs that would go into, so for instance, we are in the premises of GHOne TV. If you bring dogs here and you want dogs to sniff around this studio to, you know, find anything that looks ballistic, anything that looks like a gun or carrying a gunpowder or might have fired, because a blacksmith, when he produces a gun, will put a BB bullet in it and fire it. Once that is fired, even if you don't have a bullet in that BB gun, the dog would find it. Once we do that,
we've attempted guns for cash before.
No. That's an amnesty. You see, when you say bring them and I'll give you cash, if what is pushing me, if somebody is going to, if you tell me to bring my gun,
well,
you give me
I'll come back to why I brought in the cash for guns, because then it will then be based on trust to want to stop whatever you're doing as far as the production of firearms are concerned and going to farm tools. But let's take our first speech from the Gbewa Palace. We'll come back to that conversation.
Now, born down here about 2002, then you Trapong and Yaa Naa Yakubu and Danny. Then Yanga Kazulana Lala Sama, Monenye. Jilmalam President Kufo, Oraka Shabon Bolo Wako Commission, never Vaden Tale, Katita Palala. Dinyanga, Polampina Namata, Bangam, Yaa Naa Tatapse, never Cheda Boya to Amane, Mbomalgotile. Denya Pony, never Magumara Tuna Tam Daban Kalzo. Denya Bra Kwamba, Katinye, Yampam Quena, Karujo Bang, or Bopta Banga Halnason. Denye pusharen tunarza male katika tijite jijalo kala kuya mamale denyanga kayang pamba bantu nama etwa kabai ndan Yaa Naa wonenye Mahama Abubakari da sake wonenye tuzulanten jiyango bonle bisha kamdan tunaran kalma na wosham da punna asbashin wa bakaran ko anan mune sose kaswa adwani en chaka sudo na lewam sam karpana Dagbon zo jimo nyala jishale diyan chaka so kamban yan ndan Yaa Naa ne so kala no so kelle ne sudo shale dan ka Dagbon wana to po ya pampa pai na onde so na man Dagbon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Registrar of the Northern Regional House of Chiefs, Mohammed Adam Garba. Let's celebrate the Ghana Armed Forces. They have been very instrumental in today's historic occasion, and that is why we're seeing the helicopter flying past us. Thank you very much. It's part of today's historic event. Now that the Registrar of the Northern Regional House of Chiefs is done with his speech, let's put our hands together for the Ghana Armed Forces and all the security operatives here. Let's clap for them. We now invite solidarity messages from the Dagbon Forum. The president of Dagbon Forum, Dr. Suleimana Ablai, alias Hobson, if you are here, please get closer. Thank you.
Well, as you heard, Registrar of the Northern Regional House of Chiefs is just given the first speech at the Gbewa Palace. Mohammed Garba is his name, but Dr. Abubakari is here with us, thankfully. He will tell us what he said in Dagbani? Dagbani. Yeah. Dagbani.
Yes.
How did we get all these wrong?
Okay, maybe it's not your fault.
Yeah.
How it's been spelled in books.
In books,
yes.
In books, yes.
Okay, I'll just try to summarize what he said. My understanding is he has introduced the chairperson of this occasion.
Okay.
And doing so, it was the Yaa Naa himself who was chosen to chair the function. So he gave background of where we came from, where the issue started, and where we are now. He made mention that the incident happened, the unfortunate incident happened in 2002, and the president then, GHOne, came out with two bodies, Wako Commission and then Eminent Chiefs, which was chaired by the Asantehene. He said they have worked from then up to now, and what we are seeing today is the fruit of the labor they did, the work they did previously, and that we are happy as Dagbamba for the day like this.
Very well.
Briefly, that's just what.
Very well. Let's go back to the Gbewa Palace and listen to some solidarity messages now.
Bless and continue to guide you, sir. We also wish to thank our indomitable regional minister, Yaa Naa, for his exemplary leadership in overseeing the roll-out of the roadmap with his amazing teams at RECSEC, RCC, MUSEC, and Ghana Peace Council. Our colleagues at Damas also require mention for years of working to mobilize the youth to achieve lasting peace in Dagbon. At this time, we should remember with thanks all those who have worked towards a solution to these issues in the past. Even when not immediately successful, they have all contributed to the present successful outcome. Today, all in Dagbon brace themselves to work together, to walk together, and to rejoice together, ready to take full advantage of the wide range of development opportunities now available. We are sure that peace will see great strides in investments in education, agricultural, and in community achievement. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi alias Mobsen, President of the Dagbon Forum. The new king of Dagbon, His Majesty Yaa Naa Abubakari II, has selected some revered chiefs from the Dagbon traditional area, Kumbongna, Sunsongna, Patanglana, Vona, and Yerbanglana, to come and officially welcome His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to Yendi. Thank you. We expect Kumbongna, Sunsongna, Patanglana, Vona, and Yerbanglana to come forward and officially welcome His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to today's historic occasion. Thank you. While they would come, or they are expected to come and welcome His Excellency to Yendi or to this historic event, we now invite the National Chairman of the National Peace Council, Right Reverend Asante, to give us his goodwill message.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, Your Majesty, Yaa Naa Abubakari Mahama II, distinguished chiefs and personalities here gathered, fellow Ghanaians, the news of a roadmap for the restoration of peace after the unfortunate crisis in Dagbon in 2002 by the Otumfuo-led committee was received by the National Peace Council with great relief. It is a matter of interest to note with nostalgia that the idea of setting up the National Peace Council was mooted after the death of the late Yaa Naa Yakubu Andani II. Despite the difficulties, the funeral rites of both the late Muhammadu Abdullahi and the late Naa Yakubu Andani II have taken place, therefore paving the way for the selection of Naa Abubakari Mahama II as the new Yaa Naa. The Peace Council notes with gratitude the manner in which the news of the selection of Yaa Naa Abubakari Mahama was received by all the different parties in the Dagbon traditional area and Ghana as a whole. The National Peace Council believes that the relevance and the timeliness of the investiture of Yaa Naa Abubakari II should not be lost on the people of Dagbon and Ghanaians in general. The occasion must be seen as an auspicious opportunity for Dagbon to chart a new course of renewing her rich historical past for rapid socio-economic development. The Council urges all the people in the Dagbon traditional area to see themselves as one people, and this is very important in charting new course for Dagbon and its development. But the Council also encourages all Ghanaians in and outside the Dagbon state to support the process of healing and restoration. Fellow Ghanaians, permit me on behalf of the board and staff of the National Peace Council to express our profound gratitude to all who have made this day possible. We congratulate Otumfuo II, the Asantehene, the Nayeri and Yabongura, our Royal Majesties, for facilitating the process of restoring peace at Dagbon. We also congratulate the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for his faith in the Otumfuo-led committee and for the government's unflinching support to the process. Our congratulations also goes to the Regional Security Council, RESEC, and the Regional Peace Council. We further congratulate the various youth groups the forum, civil society groups and individuals who in diverse ways contributed to this success story. Ghana is forever grateful to you all. In conclusion, the Council calls on all Ghanaians, especially the people of Dagbon, to give to Yaa Naa Abubakari II all the support he needs to succeed, and to note further that our forebears and leaders have endeavored to keep Ghana in harmony. We should not allow few individuals and groups to sow seeds of discord and divisions amongst us. As a people, we have a duty to promote those things that have worked for us towards the maintenance of peace and national cohesion over the years. May God be with the new Yaa Naa Abubakari Mahama II and the people of Dagbon. Long live the Dagbon state, long live Ghana.
We thank you very much, Chairman of the National Peace Council, Right Reverend Asante, for your solidarity message. The chiefs you are seeing here are representing the new King of Dagbon, His Royal Highness Yaa Naa Abubakari II, coming to officially welcome His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to this historic occasion. Next on the program lineup is a solidarity speech on behalf of the Asantehene Osei-Tutu II and the Committee of Eminent Kings Mediation Committee that succeeded in bringing all of us together today to celebrate today's historic events. GHOne is the next person to represent the Asantehene-led committee to address the gathering. Thank you.
Kukana Antapore President Wamanyala Bazala and Diana Abukara Para Izan Nkala Antano Tambazola Marabi Mumgatore Kanatizamba Kabaponye Nayam Kumuna Nayam Tolang Bangana Nayam Jia Bangana Na Papurfona Na Papur Patangla Tobum Potang Bazola Nawama Challenge never to pray. Asantehene Nutum Shabmana Sapoy Tesumbarosa China Drew President Tobe Afede Rumpui Pirijin Namasa Bayi Dawaniya Unkara Nutinye Tusuteno Umpova Chikotoya Pam Naute Musu Zinagi Kabehiri Iyazani Otumfo Osei-Tutu Umpara Yizani Rezang Committee ma chairman Zulu Community Yeshele until Salo.
Thank you very much, my co-MC Alhaji Sana Abdul Latif. We now waiting for the GHOne representative of the Asantehene, chairman of the mediation committee, to come and address the gathering. The GHOne is coming to address us. Thank you. So we're waiting for the GHOne to come and deliver a speech on behalf of the King of Ashanti Kingdom, Osei-Tutu II, who happened to be the chairman of the mediation committee that succeeded in bringing all of us here today to celebrate the induction or investiture or the coronation or ordering of His Royal Highness, the new King of Dagbon, Yaa Naa Abubakari II. That is the GHOne being led to come and deliver the Ashantehene's speech. Let's give him a listening ear. You're welcome, Nana GHOne. You're welcome to address the gathering. That is the GHOne in your shortcoming to deliver a speech on behalf of the Ashanti chairman of the mediation committee that succeeded in bringing lasting peace, genuine reconciliation, and unity to Dagbon. The GHOne is coming to address us now. Let's welcome the GHOne, the Ashanti representative. Thank you so much, Nana, for coming.
That's where my casa. Aside from the casa, Your
Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo, Your Royal Majesty, Yaa Naa Abubakari II, colleague members of the Council of State, Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Ministers of State, my fellow chiefs, regional ministers, service commanders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is on behalf of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei II, the owner of the Ashanti Kingdom, that I deliver this address. We come to the historic seat of Bewa today glad tidings from the golden stool and your brothers and sisters of Ashanti. Tidings of joy and hope for a new dawn in the destiny of the proud kingdom of Dagbon. 2 centuries ago, the destinies of Dagbon and the Ashanti kingdom were linked together in a strategic marriage between the Bewa's king and an Oyuko royal from the house of the occupants of the golden stool. The marriage produced the son who was in the enviable position of being both a prince of Dagbon and a royal of Ashanti. That son went to succeed his father as Yaa Naa Mahama Abubakari II. And that was the friendship of the two kingdoms, raised and fortified by the blood of the two royal houses. It could therefore not be anything less than the call of destiny that moved President John Akufo to turn to the occupants of the golden stool to head a group of eminent chiefs with the venerated Nairi and the Yamura to find a traditional pathway to the resolution of a crisis created by the tragic murder of the late Yaa Naa
and Nani Yakubu II. The crisis has torn the heart of Dagbon apart. Such brother against brother. Deprive the people the development they need. It is not only Dagbon who have suffered from this crisis. It has been the most complex challenge to traditional governance in Ghana. The most expensive security challenge to the nation and a great source of concern to those with responsibility for the peace of the West African subcontinent. From the terrorists of Sierra Leone, Liberia and Cote d'Ivoire, the international community trembled over the danger of Dagbon, spinning out of control and escalating into yet another threat to the peace of the sub-region. Dealing with such a complex and emotive challenge requires the patience of the Job, the wisdom of Solomon, and the perseverance of the apostles. To the glory of God, we come together today to bear testimony that at long last, after 16 grueling and agonizing years, the deed is indeed done. And we can proclaim to the world peace at last. Thank God, Dagbon has peace at last. So we have come to pay homage to the symbol of that peace, the father and monarch of this great kingdom, Yaa Naa Abubakari II, as he takes the sacred skin of his forefathers with the second oath to lead all his people into a new era of peace and prosperity. From today, Yaa Naa Abubakari II, you are the soul of this kingdom, the embodiment of the proud heritage of Dagbon, and the guardian of the destiny of your people. The people of Dagbon now know that they can afford to get rid of the baggage of the past decade because they have a common father they can look up to for leadership and to turn to in times of difficulty. They have a father who is now able to define a new vision for united efforts to bring economic and social development to them. Out of the chaos of the past 16 years has emerged a landmark which will fill every Ghanaian and every believer in Africa with the greatest pride. For the Dagbon crisis has demonstrated beyond all doubt that the traditional system of governance offers adequate formula for the resolution of the many challenges to the peace and prosperity of our continent. And we have also demonstrated that the collaboration of the elected government with the traditional authorities and confidence in the sincerity of government are indispensable factors in the sustenance of peace. This crisis persisted through the administration of three presidents. It has taken the passionate commitment of His Excellency Yaa Naa Abubakari to deliver the peace in Dagbon. Peace in Dagbon was indeed one of the major electoral promises Yaa Naa as the candidate made. Today, we all congratulate you, Your Excellency. President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces for delivering on your promise. And it is not only the people of Dagbon, but all Ghanaians who must show gratitude. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
We thank you very much, the Keminni, for delivering the speech on behalf of the King of Ashanti Kingdom, Asantehene of Tutu the second, and the Keminni is going to greet the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. As soon as he's done greeting the President of the Republic, we will invite the President of the National House of Chiefs, Togbe Afede, to come and give us his solidarity message. Thank you very much, Keminni. Yadasi Akwaba.
Dabehi Wansante Ashanti Wankusa was a woman in Sheltama. Lona, I talk to put on Basolana, Comporting Tobe Afedia Basil Kwamunye, President, National House of Chiefs.
It is now the turn of the President of the National House of Chiefs, Togbe Afede, to come and deliver his solidarity message. President of the National House of Chiefs, Togbe Afede. Thank you very much. This program is streaming live on GTV, TV3, Sagani TV, NTV, and all the local and international media networks that you can think about. Togbe Afede, President of the National House of Chiefs, it is your turn now to come and give your solidarity message. Thank you, everybody, for coming to witness today's historic event. Today's historic event is about the investiture of His Royal Majesty Yaa Naa Abubakari II, the new King of Dagbon. That is the President of the National House of Chiefs, Togbe Afede. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Your Excellency, former President, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, Your Royal Majesty Yaa Naa Abubakari II, Committee of Eminent Chiefs, Nana Otuo-Serebo, Chairman of Council of State, representing His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei II, colleague members of the National House of Chiefs and all other chiefs gathered here, members of the Council of State, ministers of state and other top government officials, members
from the media. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great privilege, and I'm indeed filled with joy to be part of this very momentous occasion. Many of us have feared that the solution to the protracted Dagbon chieftaincy crisis, which has been a big dent on the image of chieftaincy, may not be found during our lifetime.
Up to peace in Dagbon at the colorful event at the Jubilee House on the 23rd of November 2018, exactly 9 weeks ago. Many of us still had doubts. So on behalf of the National House of Chiefs, and for that matter, all the chiefs of this country, I want to congratulate and thank our brothers, the Abudu and Andani families of Dagbon, for embracing peace and thus doing a great honor to the chieftaincy institution. As the National House of Chiefs, Your Excellency, we have become increasingly concerned about the dignity and relevance of the chieftaincy institution in contemporary Ghana. We recognize that to be relevant, our institution must address itself to the needs of our people. Our nation and its people aspire for development, one that provides jobs for our youth, the basic necessities of life, and enhanced living standards. Luckily, our nation is endowed with more than its fair share of the world's natural resources. Added to this, our energetic and youth population, and it becomes obvious that all the ingredients for rapid development are here. But we cannot realize our full development potential unless we are united and are at peace with each other. That is why the National House of Chiefs has developed a comprehensive program for the resolution of outstanding chieftaincy disputes, and is also embarking on other programs to reduce to the barest minimum the incidence of new disputes. The resolution of the Dagbon chieftaincy dispute, one of our very top concerns, comes as a big relief. That is why we owe a debt of gratitude to His Royal Majesty Utumpo Osetu II and his committee of eminent chiefs for the wonderful job they have done, not only for Dagbon, but for all of Ghana. Successive governments have played their roles, but His Excellency President Akufo-Addo and his government deserve special praise. Your Excellency the President, I want to remind all of us that the real work for sustaining peace in Dagbon has only just begun. I want to ask all our politicians to play their role. Very importantly, let us take politics out of Dagbon matters. Dagbon people are one, and all perceived differences are political constructions. To our Dagbon brothers and sisters, I have a humble request. Please remember that Dagbon cannot achieve much unless you stay united. We have a common desire for development. Let's join hands in pursuit of that objective so that we will leave a legacy of peace, unity, and development for our children and grandchildren. Today, you all are pledging your support for our new king. As usual, I can imagine you saying, "We are behind you. We are behind you." I hope that in times of difficulty, when our new king turns to look back, he will find all of you behind him. Your Royal Majesty, Yaa Naa Abubakari II, I recall the very warm reception you gave Kasebre Kwebu Ewusi
the 7th Vice President of the National House of Chiefs, Nana Soglo Alo the 4th, and me at your palace at Salevugu when we visited you on the 2nd of November 2016, prior to the elections that gave Dasebre and me the mandate to lead National House of Chiefs. We discussed our shared desire for a new image for chieftaincy and the need to restore dignity and nobility to the institution. We also spoke about the need for a new development orientation so that we can remain relevant to the aspirations of our people. You counseled us in few words, but those few words portrayed the fact that you were destined for greatness. You and I now share a big opportunity to transform chieftaincy, encourage a stronger development orientation, and promote the modernization of customary law. I look forward to working with you on the ideas we shared during that historic visit, so that together we would further the cause of chieftaincy. By stepping into the shoes of the great kings of Dagbon, you have accepted a great responsibility. I ask that you keep your doors open so that all your people can partake in unity in your development agenda and in the creation of your legacy. We believe that the kingmakers of Dagbon have made the right choice, and we trust that you will prove them right. Your Excellency the President, on behalf of the National House of Chiefs, I want to commend all those who had aspired to serve Dagbon in the position of Yaa Naa. They all still have a role to play. There is nothing to fight for except the development of Dagbon and its people. Let no one mislead you. Please rally behind the new king in pursuit of your common interests in the welfare of Dagbon. Finally, Your Excellency, we want to remind all who find it difficult to forget the past that the journey ahead of us is longer than the one we have traveled. It is time to leave the past and focus on the future. Thank you once again for this great day. Long live Dagbon. Long live Yaa Naa. Thank you.
Indeed, long live Dagbon and long live Ghana. That was a speech delivered by the President of the National House of Chiefs, Tope Afede. We're getting to the climax of the program, and we now invite the Chief Drama, Luna, to come and give us some appellations. Abraman Yakubu is his name.
يدابر يلين داريلي يتونيا تيني ولر سلم سرابونو يبقى بابا كبولو كبولو كبالي يزايبنا ياكو من عندنا بالتبلاندني نبجنا نبجزو أبنية نمادنزو أبنية سهلنا
giving some appellations. And the appellations are in line with the traditions and customs of Dagbon to signal that the king of Dagbon, the new king of Dagbon, the appellations are to recount and brought them. Coming to read the speech of His Royal Majesty, the new King of Dagbon, Yaa Naa Abubakari Mahama. His Excellency Bona, the Chief of GHOne, coming to deliver the speech of new King of Dagbon, Yaa Naa Abubakari Mahama. So the behind the new king of Dagbon. So as soon as the chief drama is done with the appellations, we will hear from the former Council of State members.
Your Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, Ministers of State, Chief of Defense Staff, Inspector General of Police, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Members of Council of State, delegation of Otufo, led by Keminni Nana Otto-Sigwa II, who is also the Chairman of Council of State, representative of Nigeria, led by Inorana, Yamia Toka and Bozorana, and representatives of Yekoura, led by Popehura, Jinapo and Chilehura, and Kemihura. Your Excellency, the former President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, Presidents of the Regional Houses of Chiefs, led by the President Tokwe Afene, the 14th President of the National House of Chiefs, and Abubakari of Asogna State, Paramount Chiefs present, MMGCs present, and other chiefs present, ambassadors, other members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I am delivering the speech of Yaa Naa, Mahama Abubakari II, on the occasion of his investiture at Yendi on Friday. On this fateful Friday, the old order changes yielding place to new. This is a historic day, a unique day, being a day of my investiture as the 42nd Yaa Naa of Dagbon. This month is a memorable one, being a month of the two royal families of Dagbon, Abdul and Dani, and their followers buried the hatchet and united for the sake of peace and development of Dagbon and Ghana. And Allah, in approval of the new path we have charted for ourselves, gave us showers of blessings when I entered Cathedral on Friday night, 18 January 2019, as the 42nd Yaa Naa. Today is a happy day for the people of Dagbon, sons and daughters of Dagbon. Wherever they live or work, will look upon this day as an extraordinary one. Our ancestors will now rest in peace in their final places of abode. I see them smile upon us this afternoon. All of Dagbon say today in unison, Allahu Akbar. Your Excellency, this great day, the 25th of January 2019, will feature in the history of Dagbon, Northern Ghana, and Ghana as a momentous day. Your Excellency, today has been possible as a result of your unparalleled courage, great sense of fairness, and strong leadership. Dagbon will forever be grateful for your sterling leadership and warm friendship to us. On countless occasions, you publicly declared your neutrality in the unfortunate Dagbon Skin dispute. You insisted you were neither Andani nor Abudu. Indeed, you have said you are, quote unquote, Abudani. You said you had no vested interest in who ascended the nameship of Dagbon. You pledged to work for unity, peace, and development of Dagbon. Since assuming the high office of President of our country, you have acted strictly in accordance with your pledge to Dagbon. Over the past 2 years, you and your government have acted fairly and impartially in this matter. You never gave up, even in the face of enormous challenges, in your pursuit of peace and unity in Dagbon. You deployed the full arsenal and resources of state to achieve what we are witnessing today in the forecourt of Nigeria's palace, the official palace of the Dagbon state. Your Excellency, you have indeed fulfilled your promise to Dagbon. Dagbon will eternally be grateful to you. New palace, Your Excellency, having ensured that there is now a united Dagbon, you have one major job to do for Dagbon. It is the construction of a befitting palace for the Yaa Naa. I earnestly appeal to you to build a palace for Dagbon. The provision of a palace for the Yaa Naa will be a great supplement to the great achievement you have already chalked by uniting Dagbon. Dagbon is forever grateful to Your Excellency. Despite visited on us, Dagbamba, by our countrymen and women, as people locked in chieftaincy conflicts should end this month and this moment. Now, Chairman, Your Excellency, the President of the Fourth Republic, you are in Yendi, the seat of former Kingdom of Dagbon, founded in about the year 1200 by our great ancestor GHOne. The great ancestor of Mampuru, Dagbon, Nanu, Moshi, Tanasi, Wala, and Kusasi. The traditional state and to preside over is of a sizable area. It is 14,416.5 square kilometers and has a population of about 1 million people. It has 16 parliamentary constituencies and 13 administrative districts. It has fertile land for agriculture and the largest number of cattle and sheep in the country. It has commercial iron ore deposits in Shiri, and alluvial gold was recently found in Zantane in the Tolan district. In this connection, let me take the opportunity to call on all investors at home and abroad to come to Dagbon and invest. They can invest in solar energy, shares, mining, agriculture, animal husbandry, tourism, building industry, and cloth manufacturing, particularly the northern smoke, which has its origin in Dagbon. Under marine, education, food security, local economic development, environmental security and peace building will be paramount. We will partner with the international community, the government of Ghana, and other development agencies to accelerate peace and development in Dagbon and northern region. I shall also count on corporate institutions and business community in Ghana to facilitate this work. The Otufo Committee of 3 eminent chiefs was established in 2003 by former President J.A. Kufuor, when Dagbon was set on fire by the murder of the Yaa Naa II. Its main objective was to quench the blazing fire and to restore the peace of Dagbon, which had been destroyed almost beyond restoration and beyond pardon. At the initial stages of the mediation, the parties refused to meet face to face. At some stages of the negotiations, the delegations were on each other's throats. A good deal of compromises were made by the parties as proceedings moved towards the end. Hard rules which could be bent were bent by the committee in order to reach compromises. When lovers of gold and silver coins go to the markets for their purchases, and there are no gold or silver coins, but mixed gold and silver coins, they must be prepared to go home empty-handed or buy the mixed gold-silver coins. Let me add that when antiquated customs and peace are in conflict, it is better to let peace prevail. Abudu and Dani royal families found themselves in the same situation that lovers of gold and silver coins found themselves. They were not prepared to leave Manshia Palace without a deal. The decision we took at Manshia Palace gave birth to the ceremony you are witnessing today. After 15 years of hard work and compromises by the committee and conflicting parties, the Abudu and Dani royal families of Dagbon agreed to what we are witnessing today, the investiture of myself as Yaa Naa Abubakari II. 80 years ago, my father Yaa Naa Mahama II ascended to the Dagbon throne from the gate skin of Biam. In 1876, my grandfather Yaa Naa and Dani II ascended the Dagbon throne from the gate skin of Savilugu. My countrymen and women, today is my turn to ascend our ancient throne from Savulgo after the 2-4 committee had joined the broken pieces together. During my reign as overlord of Dagbon, I intend, with the support of chiefs and people of Dagbon, to do away with the antiquated customs and to remove the bottlenecks in our constitution. This will ensure peace and rapid development of Dagbon. The antiquated customs were great assets to us yesterday. If they are stumbling blocks to our peace and development today, we must do away with them. I declare before you all that I shall be just and fair in my rule of Dagbon. I shall do justice to all manner of people in Dagbon, whether they are Dagomba or Anufu, whether they are Asante or Kongomba, whether they are Moshi or Hausa, and whether they are Abudu or Andani. As you are aware, the Judicial Council and the Court of the Yaa Naa from time immemorial are composed of people who have their origins from Moshi, Hausa, Wangara, Durishi, Ashanti, and Dagomba. Let me assure all the people of Dagbon that for the rest of my active life, be it long